And we are laughing because that's just what we do. Welcome to the Archer Football College Podcast. Well, okay, let's try that again. Oh, Jesus. Welcome to the Archer Football Podcast, College Edition. It's your girl Sonia here with you. We've got Lisa standing in tonight for Michelle, who's working the Celebration Bowl, where I will be on Friday and Saturday. I'm so excited. So there you go. Kate, hopefully should be coming soon. If not, you know Lisa and I can roll with this because we got a lot to talk about. As always, if you're watching over on X or Facebook, come on over to YouTube, our YouTube channel, and jump in the chat. We'd love to have you. We'll highlight your comments and all that good stuff in the chat. We usually have a very active chat, so glad to be here. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us.
No worries. It's a good day to join, I'll tell you. Lots of stuff breaking today.
Lots of stuff to talk about. See? Hey, Kristen. I always knew Kristen would show up. Love her. Love you all. Love you all. Don't feel favored. Or feel favored. We don't play favorites. Gosh, let me shut up. Okay. Anyway. Whew, what a day in college football. You know, today we were just going to talk about the playoffs. We were just going to talk about the Heisman candidates. But I think we got to start with some breaking news here. It sounds like our boy Bill Belichick is coming to the college world, going back to school.
Yeah.
Bill Belichick College Edition. Exactly. Oh, my gosh. So, yeah, he signed a 3-year contract to coach the Tar Heels. I like it. We talked about it a little bit last night on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Lisa and I, right, Kristen? It's wild. Lisa and I like it. I think that is going to be very good.
I like it.
Yeah. Lisa, why do you like it?
I think it's going to be entertaining also. I think that when you're going to have a lot of media on North Carolina now. I know that Dana had talked about Bill Polian coming out saying that, he thinks it's a mistake. I'm the opposite. I am like polar opposite of this guy. When I think if I'm a parent of a son that's going pro that wants to be in the pros, I'm looking at North Carolina right now. I mean, this guy's won 6 freaking Super Bowls. He had the best quarterback, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks. So it's a win-win, I think, for North Carolina. I think it's a win-win for recruiting. And we touched a little bit about it offline here. We weren't live. We talked about it a little bit where recruiting is recruiting even a thing anymore? Yeah, I think you'll get diamonds in the rough and stuff like that. But right now it's all about portal transfers and where these kids want to go. And I'm talking about kids that have having good success at school. I mean, today it was announced that, California's quarterback is hitting the portal. He was good. He had a great season with Cal. So it's so interesting to me that I think a lot of people are going to want to play for him. I think a lot of kids are going to want to play for him.
Agreed.
And plus the fact that he's going to be out of the NFL and not coming after Don Shula's record is just absolutely.
That's really where awesome. Lisa's excited.
Awesome about it. Knock yourself out for 3 years. I'm good.
Because then that really kind of puts him just like out of contention, like
pretty much, yeah. Because I mean, you think,
Also, I think, the game right now is kind of not trending towards the NFL because it's still college. But I think, like you said, the way that they're getting kids in, it's almost like recruiting free agents. And that's something that Bill Belichick has done for years. He's quote unquote recruited free agents. And so it's kind of the same background-ish. Obviously not the exact same, but still kind of going after those free agency type kids. Kristen, actually, hang on. We'll welcome Kate in just a second, but let me get to Kristen's comment. I'm surprised he didn't want to coach one of the... See, I kind of thought about the Cowboys for a second, but him and Jerry were going to do this. And it was not going to work out. It was not going to be a productive thing, at least in my
exactly. And like I said, I think he's just had his fill for the NFL for a while. I mean, it's tough winning in this league. It's stressful. I mean, we've got breaking news all over the place. I mean, right now, as far as all the talk radio today concerning the NFL was the Philadelphia Eagles in the locker room. What a nightmare this is starting to be. It will be a distraction now. I think he's just ready for a little bit of a change. And I also do honestly think that he's trying to get his son set up. I think he's trying to get his son into, a little bit more. I mean, because apparently the agreement is that his son will be the heir apparent if he leaves. So,
hey, Kate, glad you could join us. Kate, are you there? Are you frozen? Kate, I think Kate might be frozen. Okay, cool.
Kate's frozen.
You okay?
She's frozen.
She's frozen. It's cold up there.
It's cold here.
Big Red. Isn't Darth Hoodie the same as Mac Brown? I think.
I don't think so.
I don't know their ages, but I think in that case, I think it's just more.
I don't know how old Mac Brown is.
Mac was probably like just done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And probably ready to move on. Darth Hoodie, I think still wants to coach. Okay, Kate decided not to leave us. Oh. But no, I think that Belichick obviously wants to coach. And so he still has some oomph left in him. Mac Brown is probably like, I'm tired. I'm done.
He's 73.
Who? Mac Brown?
Mac Brown's 73.
How old's Belichick? 72?
I think he's 70.
Okay. Check that out. But yeah, so that's kind of what I think.
72.
Also, okay. So essentially the same age. Yeah, you're right. But obviously Belichick has still feels like he can still do it. He's not the same kind of coach without Brady. I think that is very much so a factor. But also I think he'll be able to, I don't know, maybe he'll be able to just work his magic-ish kind of without Brady.
He's gonna have a crop of quarterbacks that are gonna want to play for him.
True.
So I don't think personally you're gonna see a young quarterback for him to develop. I think it's gonna be a kid that's already hitting the ground running, ready to go. I don't think he's gonna bring an 18-year-old freshman. But then again, Bill's always been the best player will play. So we don't know. You know what? I'm not, and this is my bad, and I should have done a little bit more research. I'm not sure where the North Carolina stands with quarterbacks right now, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure if they have somebody set in for their
good question. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah. See how many players hit the portal with him coming. Might be interesting. How many players will be like, no, I don't want to play for him, or I don't, you know what I mean?
I highly doubt people would not want to play for him. Right. So I think this is going to be good. They got him kind of at a pretty good chance while recruiting is kind of winding down for this next season. I still think there is still some to be had. Bigger signing day coming up in February. So I think this is a great time to get him. Oh, look. It's Kate. Are you feeling better now?
I'm on my phone. We have no internet.
Oh.
We had a
I know that feeling.
And now I got no internet. So
I know that feeling.
You get me on my phone.
All right. Kate's on her phone. Hi, Kate. Thank you so much for coming to join us. We're just talking about the hoodie. Okay.
Why? He's going to Carolina. That's crazy.
What do you think? Do you think that's a good thing? Listen, I love it.
I don't know how Belichick and his style will translate to the college game. I have enjoyed him on Manningcast, and he has a little more personality than I thought he did. But I still imagine him talking to a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds in the locker room about the Twitter and the webs, and just I don't know how he can connect with them or relate to this generation. These aren't professionals that are getting paid to do a job. These are kids. And I don't know. I guess we'll see real quick how he's going to relate to them.
I mean, his girlfriend, she's not that much older than these guys, so she might be
able stop.
She might be able to be like, no, Bill, we don't say that. The word is Riz. Yeah.
Oh, skibbity-doo.
Skibbity toilet Riz. My kids are probably going to.
He's gonna need a quick link to the Urban Dictionary for sure.
That's right. That's right. Okay, there you go. So here's a good question: will Bill Belichick be better than Bad Harbaugh on the college scene? That's a really good question, and that obviously remains to be seen. Yeah, that's
He's
very
a
good
lot
question.
older. Belichick is a lot older than Evil Harbaugh was when he went to Michigan. And meat chicken. And I don't know how old his kids are. You're right. His girlfriend's that age. So you're right. Maybe he'll be fine because he'll speak the lingo.
He'll speak the lingo.
I think he can still play the game. I think he can be innovative. I think he can teach them. He's not going to be teaching them the stuff that, he had the Browns doing in 93 or the Patriots doing for the last 20 years. I don't worry about the football side. I just worry about his relatability to these kids and getting them to listen to him and remembering, right? It starts in the living room. He's got to go sit in their parents' living room and convince them to come play at his school. And if they're not Patriots fans, good luck with that. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
I don't think they'll be Patriot fans. I don't think they have to be. I think I think you want, as a parent, you would want your child in the best situation you can. What is a better situation than having your son go play for a guy that's won 6 freaking Super Bowls? And a guy that loves to coach. He loves to coach. He's even said it. He's very much reminds me a lot of Nick Saban. That's one of the things that Nick always emphasized when he left the Dolphins. He just loves to teach and loves to coach. So does he. So I think he's going to relish in the fact that he's going to have all these kids that he can teach football to. And I think he'll be, like you said, you're going to have the head. He's got the head coaching experience on being the head coach. I mean, I'm sure he'll build a nice staff around him, because that's one thing Bill Belichick will do. He's not a signal caller. He's not he's a defensive minded coach, but yet he wants to teach. He'll let his coaches coach. He just wants to he'll game management guy. I'll coach the coach. I'll teach when we're off the field and learning. I think it's a good situation for him.
I agree with all that. And I think what we'll see maybe from a recruiting standpoint is a little bit of what we saw in Colorado with primetime. There were some kids who had other choices, who chose that program that won 1 or 2 games last year. Because if you want to have a career in the pros, you're going to college, and part of your decision on where to go to college is, where am I going to get enough looks by scouts? Right. And so some of those kids chose Colorado because they knew the media was going to pay attention to Deion Sanders. And you're going to have that same thing in Carolina. Everyone's going to be watching what Bill Belichick does. So if these kids can't get into their top tier first choice school, this is a very good option for them to make sure that they're getting attention. Their games are getting watched. Scouts are there, and it will give them good odds at getting a look to get to the NFL.
Agreed. That's really good.
This is my little tiny Browns player with the only trophy they're ever going to win.
He's the sweet little Browns player.
My daughter handed him to me as I was walking in to do the podcast. They went to a Comic-Con last weekend, and he's a little Lego football player. Look at him. He's so crazy.
Hey, yo, wait.
Don't step on him.
Right, they hurt. And then Big Red says, what about a comparison of Belichick and Pete Carroll? He was a little bit older. That's good. I think that's a good comparison. But also, Pete went back. I was about to say, he went back and forth. He was in the NFL.
He did.
Went back to the NFL.
That's really a question for Dana. Maybe we ask Dana that next, because she, I think, is closer to that situation personality-wise. She could probably tell us just how woke Pete Carroll is, to see if he had any, if there were any stories about him, trying to relate to the players or besides football. They all speak.
He had success, though. I mean, when you look, he went from the New York Jets, and I think it helped him. He was one of the coaches I think helped when he went to college. He had a great recruiting class. I mean, it wasn't until the end where he bolted that he started to get in a little trouble with, the NCAA about the recruiting and wasn't, am I right or wrong? Wasn't he kind of involved in a Reggie Bush whole thing?
Yeah.
So, I mean, so it's kind of to me, he was one of the coaches that he just wasn't ready to be a head coach in the NFL. He went to the college. He kind of grew up a little bit in the college. He had great success with with SC, and then had great success with the Seahawks. So we're just reversing. Well, it's like Nick Saban. Nick Saban failed miserably in football in the NFL because he didn't get strapped with 55 players. He wanted, the players he wanted. It was hard for him, and like you said, all he wanted to do was coach and teach. And men's a lot different than kids, where you're talking about, like you said, Bill Belichick's going from talking to grown men to talking to 18, 19-year-old young men.
Yes. Yes. Very fair.
It's been a while since he's been around someone like that. We'll see.
We'll see.
It'll be fun to watch.
It'll be very fun to watch. Now, let's move on to.
Especially because that's none of our teams. Right? We all have our favorite college teams, and he ain't coaching for one of ours. So we can be objective and look at it and not be like, oh, that's my team.
Right. Exactly. So that'll be really cool. Even Michelle, it's not even her team. So that's good.
Yep.
Maybe it's easier to go from the NFL to college than the other way around. I think so. I think now it's kind of changing a little bit.
Yeah. I like college coaches that go to the NFL because you can see it in their first couple drafts how much more familiar they are with the players because they either had them on their team or they played against them, and they're a lot more in tune with who's available those first couple years in the NFL. I think maybe long term they don't do as well, years 3, 4, 5, 6, but I think their first couple they come out the gate doing really well.
Agreed. Well, let's move on and talk about the playoff. Did they get it right? Yes, they did. They did. I looked at it. I think that they got it right. I think leaving Alabama out was the right thing to do. I think the way that I think that the ones that won the conference championship getting, their bye, and then the ones that they played against getting in before, totally agree. So kudos on you, college football committee, playoff committee.
Unless you're an Alabama fan.
Unless you're not. But come on, Alabama fan. Let's be realistic, please.
There were a couple teams I would have liked to have seen in the playoff. But when I look at like an Army, for example, and then I go look at the 12 and it's like, who am I going to take out? I don't want to take anybody out.
Right.
There are good things and good stories behind every single one of those teams that's in there. I can't argue with what they did.
No.
It's hard. It's hard because realistically, if you look back at it and you look at the super conference SEC is, and it is, I'm sorry, it's hands down the toughest conference in college football. There's just no doubt. These guys beat the hell out of each other every single conference.
Just because this year the Big Ten was pretty damn good.
No, but look at Alabama being left out because of playing the strength of schedule in the SEC. The one that I could argue and make an argue with is I think, and this is me watching them and stuff like that. I don't think there'd be a chance in hell that Indiana would beat Alabama. I don't. No. I don't. And so, I mean, you can make the cases all you want, and yeah, Indiana deserves it. But when you look, if you're going to look at the committee and look back and research everything the committee said they stand for as far as strength of schedules and stuff concerned, you're not going to tell me that Indiana would beat an Alabama team right now. I just don't think it would happen.
I mean, but also, did we think that they would beat we thought that they would beat a Vanderbilt team, didn't we? We did.
Or an Oklahoma team.
We did.
When I look back at all those teams that Alabama played, and I talked to several Alabama players, that Alabama game to me killed them. That was the one. It wasn't even close. They took them to the house. I mean, I don't know if Alabama overlooked Oklahoma, which I personally think happened. I don't think they thought that they were going to be as tough as they were. And they took a beating.
They did.
They did. I will. Big Red, his comment. I don't know, Sonia, if you can put it on. I don't think I can. I can't on my phone. That one. Ohio State booted for losing to Michigan to begin with. I can't argue with you. I hate a 2-loss Ohio State team being in the playoff. As big of a homer as I am, I still look every morning. Yes, Ryan Day still has a job. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. I don't know if they're keeping him to see
if he loses to Tennessee, he's gone. If he loses to Tennessee, he's gone.
Then I'm praying.
I'm telling you that night. I would hope so. I think they fire him after the game. I do.
I fire him at halftime. So I don't like a 2-loss Big Ten team in there. Because I think it diminishes Indiana because they lost to Ohio State. I love the SMU story. I love the fact that, they were given the death penalty a little bit ago, and look at how they've come back from that. There are an awful lot of SEC teams in here. So when I say there's enough representation from the SEC to leave Alabama out, then I look at the Big Ten and we got 4. And I'm like, I feel like I can say that because if Ohio State had gotten left out, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I would not be complaining. I'd have been like, you wanted to get in, then you should have beat Michigan.
Just saying.
I'm not.
Do we agree? There's one team out of that whole conference that you just wish you could take back. Which team? Ohio State, Michigan. We should have beat Michigan, hands down. Everybody you talk to, there was absolutely no reason why Ohio should have beat Michigan this year. Absolutely
agreed. And y'all know me. I agree.
Don't you said it to me. They're two of their best players were out, and I can't even. Right? My only gripe with the entire list is the fact that Oregon's in the Big Ten to begin with.
There you go.
I don't know why they're in the Big Ten. They won the Big Ten their first year. And again, if we don't like it, somebody should have beat them during the season.
That's it.
We didn't.
Just saying.
We didn't. I now hope they stay in the Big Ten. I hope they don't come up with some way to create some other conference and then move all those Pac-12 teams over. I don't know what they're doing. It's a mess. I love Notre Dame being in and not getting a bye because they refuse to join a conference.
Agreed.
I like the Cinderella story that is Indiana. At least I understand your argument about strength of schedule, but that third loss for Alabama, it's so hard.
It is.
For anybody to justify a 3-loss team over a 1-loss team. It's like,
but the script was written, Kate. If Clemson had lost, Alabama would be in. Absolutely no doubt.
I think so.
Absolutely no doubt in anybody's mind. Clemson, if Clemson would have lost, Alabama would be in it right now.
Yeah, I think so.
Because to me, as when we looked at the list in the week before, Alabama was idle. Ohio State's idle. They didn't have championship. So they pretty much had the Tennessee-Ohio State game. Because when you looked at the way it fell, there wasn't too many upsets. There was no upsets up top that would move those two. The only upset that would happen is if Clemson won. And it happened.
Right. So when we were looking at it last week, one of the things we said is there were 2 games that were above Ohio State. There was the Oregon-Penn State game. And if Penn State had won, we think they would have just flip-flopped.
It might have been flip-flopped.
And there was Texas, Georgia.
Yeah, yep. Texas, Georgia.
And if it had gone the other way, they would have flip-flopped.
Yes, so it was the only movement to Ohio State.
Yeah, the teams above Ohio State weren't dropping below 6 and 7. So when we looked at some of the predictions, we're like, Ohio State, Tennessee is set. Everything else above it is fluctuating.
That is so
and
true.
Everything below it is fluctuating. And we're right in the middle. None of the games that were going to be played for championships were going to affect that matchup.
Not at all. And we kind of saw that. And like you said, I think it was, everybody knew Clemson had to go. Clemson hasn't been that great this year.
No, they really haven't.
I mean, so it's, knew that they had to, be in there because of the way the rules set that there's a conference champion. And the only one left, Alabama was sitting on the cusp.
Right.
Yep.
They got it right, y'all. I'm sorry, Alabama fan, but they got it right.
I don't disagree. So Friday night, December 20th, we will get Indiana at Notre Dame. And I love that the first round is just a home game for the better team.
Yeah.
And then after that, they're all, and I'm going to air quote neutral field.
Neutral.
When LSU gets to play Florida or when Texas gets to play Dallas, like just because of where the bowls are located, it ends up being home games for some of these teams. Right. And I salty say that because my Buckeyes have had to play Clemson twice. They might as well have been in Clemson's backyard when they played. So Indiana is at Notre Dame on Friday the 20th. Are we all taking Notre Dame? Is this?
I'm taking. I have no doubt. I mean, I'm telling you, I would. I'm not even a betting person, and I would bet on that game. I know Notre Dame's. It's to me, it's a lock. I just don't think Indiana's there.
But I will say this: if Indiana manages to win that game, I may take them a lot deeper in the playoffs because that will.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen though. It's not going to happen.
It might not, but Notre Dame, they've actually looked pretty decent this year. So
their defense is real.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, that's it. But I mean, that's why they play the game, right?
Right.
Exactly. It's going to be a good game.
I think so. Saturday.
Is that it? That's in Notre Dame? I'm sorry. Where did you say that one was?
Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana, but it's Indiana and Indiana. So it might as well be a neutral field. Because it's Indiana on Indiana crime. Saturday, SMU will play at Penn State in State College, Pennsylvania, Beaver Stadium, at noon. I think Penn State's a better team, but I like SMU as my Cinderella story, so I'm rooting for SMU.
I honestly, I agree with you. I do too. I can easily see and make a case that SMU can come out of that stadium a winner.
Yep.
That's a very winnable game for them.
I mean, they're the 12th ranked team, but they had 11 wins. It's not like they got in.
I mean, I can see, and when you look at scheduling with Penn State, right? I mean, look at their schedule now. Look what happened in the conference. I can see SMU coming out of there.
Yeah,
I could. I'm looking. Wow, they really whipped up on Washington. Yeah,
Yeah, and then at 4 p.m. we will have Clemson at Texas. Sonia, does Clemson have any chance at Texas? At Darrell K. Royal Memorial Stadium in Austin.
Hook 'em.
Listen.
Hook 'em.
Listen. I'm giving yours 2 series. That's all I'm doing. If that dude, I'm pulling his ass. I swear to God.
It better be this long, Lisa. I'm with you.
It is. Seriously. I am not even kidding you. He has been playing bad football the last couple games. I'm sorry. For a kid that's trying to make a statement to go to the NFL, bro,
best not.
There's not many. That Jeff Saturday does a thing on one of the things. It's called bro. You are going to have to bring A games because let me tell you, the scouts are just kicking his ass right now. They are killing him, and he's struggling. Okay, I think if Arch Manning plays in that game, I don't know. I don't trust yours.
Yep.
I don't
either. But that just tells you how good overall that team is. That you can change a quarterback, and they do just fine. And then the night game is the Tennessee Volunteers in Columbus at Ohio State at the Shoe. Unless your name is Michigan, the Buckeyes are hard to beat at home. But the Volunteers play a very different kind of football than we play in the Big Ten.
They're fast. That's
a point. That's
fast.
A flip a coin on that one. I don't know the way to go.
I think theoretically, when you look, Ohio State should be your favorite, right? They should be your favorite.
Agreed.
And I just still think that they're the better team than Tennessee. But like you said, where's Ohio State? Where are their heads right now? Where are, Tennessee's fast, they're quick, they're but I still think that if they lose, I think Day's gone that night. I mean, theoretically, Kate, they should win this game.
They should, but I don't love my quarterback. I'll say it. I don't have a problem saying it. I love saying Olivia. I don't know what is that to actually say his name, Tennessee's quarterback, but I'm Olivia right there. I love him. I love his game. I love the way he plays. And I just can't, Will Broward can't figure out who he is. He can't beat Michigan. So I can flip a quarter on that one for me. I don't know which way to go. Quarterfinals is when we start with actual bowls.
Yeah.
So each bowl gets the winner of Texas versus Clemson. That will be played in Alabama against Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
The Rose Bowl on January 1st will be the winner of Ohio State, Tennessee versus Oregon. Again, I hope Tennessee wins because the last thing I want to do is see Oregon again. That's not
right.
January 9th is, those are semis. Where's the fourth game? As 3. Oh, the Fiesta Bowl is
on the 31st
of SMU or Penn State versus Boise State in Glendale, Arizona. So you got Arizona, Atlanta, California, and New Orleans. New Orleans will see Georgia taking on the winner of Indiana, Notre Dame. I'd love to see Notre Dame, Georgia, but it's in New Orleans. Like, it might as well be a home game for them. It's
literally
just they fell, right? It's just
I find it funny that Oregon's going to be playing in the Rose Bowl. like old times. Things change, but they stay the same.
But that's what, right? So if it ends up being Ohio State, that's what all the pregame stories will be, is all the years that it used to be when it mattered. When I was growing up, it was Big Ten, Pac-12 in the Rose Bowl. Those teams that went.
And then January 1st.
Then it became part of the playoffs, and it didn't matter anymore.
Remember Huskies going to the Rose Bowl, Washington. Oh my God, I remember all that stuff.
Yeah.
If this was last year's system, we would be watching Oregon play Texas and Georgia play Notre Dame.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I think there are other teams that have a shot at winning all of it outside of those 4. So I'm excited to see what this playoff looks like. If I had to do it with just those 4, I think I'd be taking Oregon.
I think so too. I do too. I think I still think Oregon's the team to beat. My dark horse out of all 12 is going to be Arizona State. They're a scrappy ass little team, bro.
They are.
I'm telling you. Let me tell you, I think if you got a dark horse and you want to like put down some money in Vegas for the long shot, man, Arizona State's a scrappy little team, boy. They could come in and cause some problems.
Yeah, buddy. You love that. You love chaos. Lisa loves chaos.
I love chaos. I love chaos because it's just like, you get these cocky schools that just think that it's going to be they're going to steamroll, and these little scrappy teams just bring it to them,
What if it's Notre Dame versus Oregon in a bowl game? Could that work? I think that could work. That would be kind of interesting. Hang on. Let me see if that
I'm still taking Oregon over Notre Dame.
Yeah. I would.
I still think out of the whole bowls, I still think Oregon's the team to beat. I still do.
Agreed. They've been the best team all year. They really have.
But my dark horses, I'd love to see it. Could you imagine Arizona State coming in and just kicking their ass?
That'd be great. That would be so great. Oh, the other thing that got announced, Heisman.
And interestingly enough, with 12 teams in the playoff, only 2 of them have Heisman candidates.
Yeah.
Oregon and Boise State. The other 2 candidates are on teams that didn't make the playoff. And I think
nobody's talking about Boise State that much. They're talking about the running back and the Heisman, but they're not talking about them in the playoffs either,
Right. And they should be. They have a bye. They should be talking about them because they're a very solid team.
I still think it's Travis Hunter's to lose.
Agreed.
I think, was it the first week of this podcast, Sonia, that we called that Michelle brought up Travis Hunter? I think it was the very first week. We picked a player that we were going to keep an eye on this year. And I picked Ashton Jeanty from Boise State.
Okay.
And Michelle picked Travis Hunter. And Sonia picked some offensive lineman that I love, but he's not in the
I think I picked Quinn. I think I picked Quinn
you did.
because of how he played against Michigan, and just I picked
right. Okay, I think it's fair. The thing that I think will hurt, that might hurt Travis. There hasn't been a player like him. They don't kind of know what to do with him, because he's just that. When you look at Heisman and what the Heisman's supposed to be,